It's a mind-blowingly beautiful film. That's in no small part thanks to the clothing and the extraordinary construction of these beautiful sets.
This is my 5th film with Marvel, so I could be called a Marvel veteran. And obviously this one was attractive. It's a new story, new character. I like developing new worlds.
Clothes tell a story from this very slick man at the beginning. He's very well kept, and after what happens to him, he starts to let himself go.
This is useless.
There aren't so many buttons because of the shake in the hands. The clothes get simpler on the outside.
In the comic book, Strange has the Strange symbol on his chest. One of the big challenges was how to incorporate that without making him look like I've got the T-shirt and I'm here. We decided that within the camouflage, the disciples would have motifs which are embroidered on their clothes.
These are stunt versions of our Eye of Agamotto. They're soft rubber and they've also been lit.
There's various versions of the eye, so there's a closed, there's some where the hands are in different positions. This eye in particular has got lights behind it.
The cloak is a huge challenge because it has to do so many things. It needs to move, it needs to behave, it needs to be extraordinary.
The cloak of levitation. It came to you.
We've made a kind of the walking, talking, the full glory cloak. We've made an action cloak. We obviously then, when we use wire work, we have to make a cloak that doesn't foul on the wires. So there are different weights, different lengths, different shapes, different collars, all kinds of things.
The production design of it is really staggering. It's a sort of 360 experience, and I love that.
It's probably one of the bigger challenges for the Marvel Universe in terms of the places that we go to with Stephen Strange's journey. Places you've never been before, places that are earthbound, places that are not earthbound.
And what's fun is taking a location and making it a character in the film. Charles Wood, our production designer, who did Thor: The Dark World for us, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, he is making this film feel different and look different from any of the films that have come before.
It was so out there, this film. Marvel do encourage you to go as far as you possibly can and then quite a lot further. Kathmandu, in Nepal, you know, it's the most extraordinary place I've ever been to.
We had 4 days shooting for real in Kathmandu, and then we built Kathmandu on the stage.
The recreation of Kathmandu here was so extraordinary. We had Nepali extras who were going, my cousin lives above that shop. Literally, they'd recreated a street and there were people who had relatives who lived in that street.
You're looking for Kamataj.
We brought with us the smell of incense. It was so evocative. You felt that you were back there. You could have just blinked and been back in Kathmandu.
Sure, you got the right one. It's just, that one seems a little more Kamataj-y.
Kathmandu is a world of natural colour. Red oxide, yellow ochre, antiquity. That influenced the world of the Kamataj. Scott always said to me he wanted a film that was very rich, dark, and luminous.
We harness energy.
Luminous, it was a lovely word because we tried to introduce colour and light and reflection stuff into a lot of these kind of dreamy worlds.
We're painting the views out of the windows to match the existing location. I think we're probably one of the few crafts in this industry that we still work as we would have done 100 years ago.
And then you go to a more modern world. You have the New York Sanctum.
The Sanctum Sanctorum is right there on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village, where it's been since the early incarnations of this character in the comic books.
That's one area which the comic books did show us, but what we wanted to do was give it a twist. So we tried to come up with a slightly odd mix of architectural styles. You can't quite put your finger on when this house was built.
This Sanctum Sanctorum is utter magic, no pun intended.
And they're also really going for the details. It's a free gift, right? We don't have to pretend that we're here. We are here.
It is extraordinary to work in environments like this because it's so vibrant that you feel that you're in an other space or dimension or world.
The New York Sanctum actually at one point tips on its end. So we had to have corridors built for some of the stunt sequences. One was a gimbal corridor with rubber walls so that Strange can be thrown from side to side without hurting himself.
Strange goes into these magical spaces. You're never quite sure when you open that door on a real set what you're going to step into. We went on several scouts to Hong Kong and wandered around and looked at the architecture and looked at how people live on a commercial level as well. The big challenge was scale. I wanted Benedict to walk into it and go, oh, you know, oh my God.
Action!
Hong Kong, this incredible outdoor set on the side of one of the stages in Longcross, which is one of the biggest, most extraordinary sets I've ever seen. It's basically elements of the whole of Hong Kong, Kowloon, brought together in one street.
We sort of matched about, I don't know, 60 or 70 buildings and created this 600-foot set.
Basically, you could cook some food at those stores. You could go and have something mended in one of those metal workshops. You could have a card printed in the paper shop. They're all functional machines. It's just mind-blowing. Every set is a sublime work of art where you can just turn anywhere, act anywhere. It gives endless scope for creating the best possible version of those scenes on the page into a cinematic reality.
For someone like me, you couldn't be in a better situation because you can explore so many different worlds, even within one film.
Every single set is a reminder of how big a universe you're part of, how big a franchise you're part of, and it's utterly inspiring.
The first time I read the script, I went, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Because it goes to all the far reaches of the world. But then, as a group of filmmakers, we've all been down the road before, and you start taking it and dividing it into its little pieces and figuring out, okay, how are we going to do New York? How are we going to go to Kathmandu?
We are in some pretty incredible locations that not only has Marvel never shot in before, but a lot of movies haven't shot in before.
You see things on location that you didn't imagine and that spark new ideas.
The Holy Tours, that one will get a cleaner POV shot.
Scott's mission, I think, was to give as much real-world live action as possible, so that then everything that's so fantastical about this story can have a basis in reality.
Kathmandu in Nepal is this amazing, beautiful, vibrant, chaotic city of 2 million people nestled amongst the Himalayas. And we went there and we found this incredibly big city, jam-packed with people and noise and life.
We scouted Kathmandu in the fall of 2014, and shortly thereafter, there was a cataclysmic earthquake. And we had fallen in love with the city and the people, and it was a real concern, would it be safe for us to go there? We felt it was the right thing to do. And the people there opened their hearts and their homes and their businesses to us.
Hit it. How to play singing balls. You don't hit it like that. What you have to do is...
It's amazing how film came out.
After visiting Kathmandu, I told the production designer, I want windows everywhere. I want to be seeing out into the city all the time, you know, so the presence of the actual city itself are always visible, because the flavor of it is unlike any other place.
And action!
We started shooting in Nepal, and so it was great to get a sense of the reality of that place, and good for my character, Mordo, to connect with the sense of spirituality that you find in places like that.
There's no place on the planet like Kathmandu. You know, it is a city with virtually no Western influence. It is so deeply mystical and religious in the most peaceful, beautiful, colorful way.
We filmed on what's called the Monkey Temple, which is right up on this hill. And side by side, you have Hindu shrines with this huge Buddhist stupa with prayer wheels and Tibetan prayer flags.
It's like going back to school again. It's like going the best field trip of your life making these movies, because you end up at the Monkey Temple in Kathmandu.
It's been kind of a wild day. This is still very much a working temple. We're very much throwing ourselves in the real Kathmandu with all the citizens hustling and bustling around us, and having to work our way through all that, which is a challenge, but also gives you so much in camera as you get the real sights and sounds and excitement of the city.
And for me to be having my first outing as this man who's right at rock bottom, who's completely broken, looking for some answer in such a spiritual place was wonderful. And it made acting very easy.
Kamertage.
So today we're actually throwing Benedict into the mix and carrying a camera around behind him to sort of covertly disguise as he mingles with the real population here.
We were filming outside, in and amongst the Nepalese people and monasteries, and meeting monks.
Being able to wander around the streets of Nepal was fantastic.
We had crowds come out on the street there who were adoring crowds. When they saw Benedict, they went nuts.
You guys see Benedict? Even the Nepalese recognize him here, even with a long beard.
By the third and fourth day, it was ridiculous, but sort of extraordinary. But it's very flattering and very good fun. It was nice to say hello to a few fans as well.
And there's some shooting in New York, where the Sanctum Sanctorum exists.
It's fun to take a surgeon who is used to being in the penthouses on Fifth Avenue into Bleecker Street and into Brownstone on the outside. Inside, of course, it is somewhat of a nexus between many different realities.
In the Marvel universe, New York is very important. We've had movies set in New York before, like if you look at Captain America and the Avengers. But Dr. Strange may be right up there with any one of our other heroes when it comes to his identity being with New York.
We happened to be shooting right outside a comic book shop. And I said, Benedict, you should pop in there. And he said, I should, shouldn't I?
Everyone looking at me and...
Yeah, I absolutely need a picture of this.
I'm sorry.
This is great.
And I filmed them on my phone walking into the comic book shop and saying hi to the guys that worked there. It was amazing.
Okay. Sorry to meet you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. See you guys.
We love the idea of really shooting New York for New York, because you can't fake that anywhere else.
And that is another icing on the cake, right? I mean, if you're in this business, you have to film at least once in New York, and this is mine.
That's how you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a picture wrap on Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's a New Yorker. Dr. Strange is a New Yorker, and we're definitely going to make that a big part of his journey.